Yesterday in our program, we began looking at an introduction to Hebrews chapter 11. I mentioned the fact that we are beginning an in-depth study of this chapter of the Bible in our Wednesday night adult Bible class at Pyburn Street, and we're going to be looking at each of the individuals that are mentioned there and see their stories of faith and see how their examples of faithfulness can influence us and motivate us to greater faithfulness today. But in this introduction, we're looking at just a few key characteristics of this chapter that will help to get our minds into a proper focus of what is being discussed. And we left off yesterday in talking about the fact that the faithful do not seek after a present reward. The faithful recognize that those godly blessings that we're going to receive are those things that we will receive in the future. They are not things of this life. In Hebrews 11 and verse 15, we find this statement being made. If they had been thinking, and this is talking about those people of faith in Hebrews chapter 11, if they had been thinking of that land from which they had gone out, they would have had opportunity to return. Now you stop and you think about this for just a moment. If they had been thinking about this life, wanting to return to their old way of life rather than maintain their faith, then they were going to fall away. But then when you come to verse 39, notice this point being made again. And all these, though commended through their faith, did not receive what was promised, since God had provided something better for us, that apart from us they should not be made perfect. Now, even though all of these individuals were commended for being faithful, they did not receive what was promised. But I want you to notice that the writer says that this is a good thing. You do not want to receive now what is promised because God is providing something better for us. Listen to verse 16. But as it is, they desire a better country, that is a heavenly one. Therefore God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared for them a city. God's people desire something better than what this life has to offer. We do not want this life and this world. We want a better life and a better world. And the better thing and God's promises are not about this life, but the life to come. Faith does not look for an earthly reward because everything earthly is temporary and is deteriorating. But we want a lasting reward. We want an eternal reward. And this leads directly into the third point that we see from verses 10 and 26, and that is that faith looks upward. As we read through Hebrews chapter 11, we must consider why these people did this. Why did they endure all that they endured? Why did they endure even though they could not see the outcome? Well, they endured because their faith was looking upward. The people of faith desired better things, and so their faith looked higher. Look at verses 9 and 10. Abraham went to a foreign land and lived in tents because he was looking for the city that has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. He was not looking at his present circumstances. He did not remain in Ur of the Chaldees because leaving his home and his family did not make sense. He left home and family because he was looking for the city that God was building. Abraham didn't want that reward now. He was looking at what was to come in the future. If you look at verses 24 through 27, Moses chose to be mistreated along with God's people. But why would Moses do this? Well, notice that the text says that Moses was looking at something else. He did not desire to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. Sin's not what he wanted. He didn't desire it. His faith caused him to look higher. He was looking to the reward. He saw that disgrace with Christ is a far greater wealth than all the treasures of Egypt. And wealth in this life didn't matter to him. Wealth in this life is nothing in comparison to wealth in Christ. Furthermore, Moses was looking at the invisible God and not looking here. His faith was looking higher. And this too is the mentality that we must adopt. We want something better, and therefore we look higher than this life. We avoid sin because we look up toward the joys and the pleasures of God. We reject the pleasures of this world because the pleasures of God will be so much better. This point is critically important and will continually be brought back into focus as you continue reading through the book of Hebrews. We find that good things come for those who wait. And we are forfeiting something so great when we're not willing to wait and look for something that is higher. So friends, what do we hope for? If we hope for this world and the things of this life, then we will not have faith in God, because God does not support this type of hope. But if we long, desire, and hope for what God has promised, a better heavenly country, then we will have a faith to support that longing. And so let us have that hope in God. Friends, we thank you for joining us for our program today, and have a blessed day.